Hello, and welcome to Dirty 20s D&D. My name is Kieran, and I will be your Dungeon Master for the upcoming Icarius, the Black Between the Stars campaign. These are the homebrew rules that we'll be using for that game. We figured it would be a good idea to make a record of these, so when then someone is inevitably confused by ruling later on, they can return and consult this video. I know a lot of these are used by a lot of people who don't bother to elaborate on them, but honestly, why not do it? The first thing to disclose is that this game is going to be very different from standard D&D on account of the fact that it's taking place in space. There are mechanics for aerial vehicles, including spaceships, that are built on the foundation of the Avernus war machines. There are modern weapons, tools, and computers, which just work like the standard 5e rule set, and also cybernetics. Something that I have created essentially entirely on my own with influences from video games and other rule sets. If you know, you know. The mechanics for them were, however, made entirely by me. This boatload of extra stuff has just been slid in, so if you understand the standard 5e rule set, everything else will be very intuitive, and if not, I'm sure things will be explained. For this game, the players are starting at level 2 with a bonus feat and a choice of a single magic item of rare or lower quality, or 500 extra gold. I decided to do this because of the sheer increase in content to draw from and the variance that this game will hold. These slight gifts won't have too much of an impact on balance, but they will dramatically increase the player's freedom to make a character that is what they envision from the start. And to conclude the preamble, I also have made a number of homebrew spells, feats, classes, and subclasses, as well as adjusting some stuff already in the game that wasn't quite power balanced to the rest. Warlock or the Great Old One. This isn't to say they're going to use it, just that if something doesn't sound quite right, I probably changed it to be more appropriate for use alongside the power creep subclasses coming out nowadays. Now, for the actual rules. These will apply to both the players and to the NPCs. Everything here is universal, there is no favoritism, and some of them were borrowed from the community or other channels on YouTube. Credit will be given where it can. Firstly, critical successes and failures will be extending beyond combat. We all feel like being unable to succeed or fail on a check removes a lot of fun and randomness, and this is a game about randomness. It's about rolling dice. So we kind of allow natural 20s to be automatic successes regardless of the kind of roll. Ability check, saving throw, always a success, and vice versa, natural 1s are automatic failures, always. This will allow even the worst of characters to succeed at times, and the best to occasionally fail like they should be able to. Next, crunchy crits, another very common rule used to enhance the efficacy of rolling crits in combat. When calculating the damage for a crit, we are taking the maximum of all of the dice, adding it together with the modifiers, and rolling the dice again. This increases the minimum damage that a crit can deal, as well as the average, but it leaves the max where it has always been. I first heard about this rule through the high rollers, but I've since seen it showing up all over, and I basically adopted it as soon as I heard it because it just makes everything kind of a whole lot better. After that comes faster attunement. In order to attune to an item, you must simply be holding it and expend an action. To unattune, you must spend 10 minutes spiritually tearing yourself from the item and forgetting what it was like to have it be a part of you. This just relieves the game of the attunement downtime rests. They weren't good for much. This rule was inspired from Jacob's over at XP level 3, but I've also seen it showing up kind of all over the place. It just makes sense. After that comes injuries. Whenever a character is knocked unconscious, they must roll a DC 10 or half the damage taken Constitution saving throw, whichever is higher. If they fail, they take an injury from a table that I've created. These injuries range from a severed limb to minor scarring, and can be cured by a range of spells, some of which were already in the game, and some of which I made up to correspond with the table because, man, the game ones are really high level and cost a whole lot, and really sucks having to always go to a temple every single time you get a little injury. So lastly, for rule changes, we have resurrection and reincarnation changes. The consequences for raised dead have changed, but most of the others remain the same. If you wait longer than the 1 minute Revivify gives you, the spirit has moved on to the next plane and may not come back quite right, even potentially choosing to not come back at all. When the spell race set is cast, those around them can choose to make personal sacrifices to reduce the potential consequences of the returning soul. And if a roll is not favorable, the returning creature cannot, well, probably not be quite right as they return. There is no failure, though, very important, as opposed to other rule changes from places like Critical Role. A spell cast is a spell cast, and the creature, unless they don't want to, will always come back, though things might not be right, as I said. For Reincarnation, I just extended the list of races to include them all. Every single option in 5th edition can be chosen, randomly selected on a massive table that I have generated. It uses a lot of dice. There's even rolling for sub-races. So you won't be one of 12, you'll be one of like 40. And that's it. All of the rules, additions, and changes that have been made to the 5e system that we'll be using for our upcoming campaign. So be sure to see them in action when you join us on Sunday, May 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern to see them all in our brand new campaign, Icarius, the Black Between the Stars. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all later.